Hi, Linda.
Hi, Kyelie.
I have just had you give me a demo of your amazing tax planning course, so we're going to have a little chat about it.
Yeah.
Tell me who this is for.
Yeah. So this course program set of resources is for small and solo accounting practice owners. So, startups to about $1 million in turnover. It's the program is now in its 5th year, so I've been running this for 5 years, and it's a system that I actually used when I was in practice. So I developed it myself for me delivering a really profitable, efficient and streamlined tax planning service that clients came back year after year, whether or not they had a profit. That's the big thing. I'm now calling this really, it's an end of financial year tax planning program because basically the beginning point is the same, whether we have a client with lots of profit that we need to help them reduce, or we've got a client with some challenging times and they don't have the profit. So they've still got a problem. We need to actually bring our business expertise in to help them turn that around, to improve their profitability, to look at their margin. So either way, we can promote this service to everyone. And what typically happens, so a lot of accountants, they tend to do this, but they tend to do it very quickly. So it's just a quick meeting, they'll charge a few $100s for it. Clients love that because you're giving away so much value. So we really need to stop that. And, now, having to document more things, having to make sure that we're actually doing everything, asking all the questions. I feel that it's a really risky way of doing tax planning or giving advice. So
Yeah, you've touched on something that's very close to my heart. Tax planning is not just tax
No.
minimisation, it's so much more.
Yeah.
We all know that trust minutes have to be properly documented
Yes,
before the 30th of
that's
June.
all in the program.
Very old school to go 50-50 or same as last year and just send it out to your clients for signing,
Absolutely, yeah.
because you're stuck with that distribution when you do the tax work.
That's
We have
right.
to be proactive in
Yeah.
that April to June, in my opinion, stage. What I particularly liked about your tax planning process is that if you were to buy it and go through the course, it means that you've got this great structure for every single one of your clients. It provides standardised work papers, there's a great process, it spits you out an agenda.
Questionnaires.
At the end, it gives you this whole document pack to give to your clients, super professional and at a very reasonable price point. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so it's $1,697. I've priced it because I know so many practice owners, there's cash flow problems in a lot of practices. I really want to help people get their confidence in this space. So I've priced it at a point where everyone can actually purchase it. They only need to do one tax plan and they've made their money. That's the idea of doing it, because what happens, my recommendation is that we actually share the offering to every single small business client in your practice. Now, that is a really scary thing, because particularly what happens when clients come into the program and participants come into the program, they actually don't have a huge amount of capacity in year one. So they might not be as further, through their tax lodgement program that they would like to be. And that's always that. It's the sticking point as to why they're not actually, sharing this, this valuable service. So what we say is actually offer it to everyone. Chances are you will only have a small amount of people take it up in the first year, because we're pricing it. I priced mine, 2016 was my last year in practice, 1,750 plus GST. So realistically, the process that I show, it's a very robust process. I'm sort of saying this year anywhere from sort of 1,500 to 2,000 plus GST is the mark for this valuable service. So we might only get a few. Now, if you get more than that, like, I'm very happy for people to be working weekends, extra hours to get
Says
through
the balance lady.
I'm very much advocating about balance, but if you got inundated, we would work out a solution. You've got to trust the process. You are not going to get inundated, but what happens is that there'll be people that will put their hand up and have this service. There'll be people that won't. Those people will often get a tax bill. So then when we talk to them in August, September with a tax bill, and they're not very happy about it, we said, well, you know what? Our hands, are tied a little bit. There's a lot of things that we can do, but some of them, once 30th of June has gone, we know that's no longer an option. It's off the table. So had you have taken up our tax planning service, you got that email, did you, Kylie? And they go, oh yes, but I sort of didn't think of it. I thought it was a bit too expensive. Paying a couple of $1,000 as opposed to, an extra $20,000 to the tax office, which could have potentially been saved. They will be the first people that will actually book in next year. So I like to see this process as a real education process as well, showcasing what we can do, the value that we can bring, and we're not just accounting for tax returns. We're doing so much more.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, so in addition to all the resources, we have fortnightly calls. So fortnightly support calls where people can come on, they can ask questions, they can share, maybe some challenges they've had that a client said, oh, this is pretty expensive. We prefer to go back to that, that little meeting that we had and you charged me $250 for. Well, that's no longer an option in our firm. We're doing things differently. So people can come and workshop and we can, troubleshoot and they can talk to me about that and to their peers. And invariably what happens, we might do some talking about the tax planning. I might be able to show, someone where things are, where to find things in the platform. But quite often they'll be asking questions like FBT, about pricing, about different practice management things that are happening in their firm, where I am very happy to share that on the call. So a lot of people come on, they don't necessarily have a question, but they'll eat their lunch, they'll listen, and so they learn from that. And then from there, for the following year, so any alumni participants, because I know people may only use, they'll be using the first year they join for the education, for the encouragement, the confidence, and they don't do as many, but then they'll come back the following year and I offer a 50% discount for alumni participants. Because let's face it, you've got the Canva templates, you can go and create them again yourself. But at half price, it's actually really not worth anyone's while to do that. To update the spreadsheet, I personalize all of the marketing material. So it actually talks to what's happening in the here and now. So if there's something happening with EVs or something like that, I share exactly what I would be doing if I was still in practice.
So disclaimer, I don't personally use Amanda's tax planning program, but I have done tax planning for ever, as long as I can remember, with my clients, to the point where I basically have to try and see every single one of my business clients in April to June. So there's not a lot of balance happening for Kyelie during that time. When Amanda just showed me her program, I think it is full of amazing value. I'm talking you get templates for your fee proposals. There's a whole process if you use Ignition as an example, or
video recorders. Thanks, Amy, for recording it for us.
Thanks, Amy from Clarity Street. We'll put our glasses on.
Amy from Clarity Street. She records a session for me every year in relation to the different areas you've got to do.
And she's just such a superstar person. Absolutely. So definitely reach out to her if you need any help in that space.
Yeah.
So we've talked about who tax planning is for. Who is it not for?
So yes, great point. So this is actually really for someone who wants to start out, get the confidence, have that Excel sort of really understand the process, really understand how we can actually get it into our firms. Though it's not, there's also, I don't do a lot of the scenario planning, right? And there's a reason why I don't do that. And there is a product that will actually help you do that. So my thoughts are, I have all of the group tax situation, all calculated, so all of your calculations. I sit in front of the clients. Obviously beforehand I've actually thought about how I could reduce that, but I've just got those as points to talk about. I don't have all scenario A, B, C, D. And the reason why I do that, we're very time poor, and we could go and do all of these combinations and get into the client meeting and they said, look, actually we've only got $20,000 we can actually use. Or they might say, look, I've got a $50,000 tax bill. If we could just get it down to 20, that would be, fine. So I just find we'd be doing wasted work.
Yep.
So that's how, and I think, we know enough about our clients. We know the tax law. Basically how I used to say, this is the starting point. What out of these options would you like to do? And we're thinking we're buying a new car. Okay, well that's gonna reduce by this. We want a new computer. We want some new, all these things. So we can actually just bring it down. So that's my that's how I bring that personalized type of thing into it. Now, if you want more and do more of the scenario planning, the Change GPS tax plan is amazing. And I see so we're not in competition, and I've actually showcased, I've had David on my balance firm community to showcase their product, because when you want more leverage and you want to do more of these plans, I mean, although mine actually, there was someone who did 250 on my program last year, but realistically they could do it a lot quicker potentially with Change GPS. So I feel like mine is a stepping stone that they can actually use. They get the confidence, they get the system, they start getting the momentum, and then they've got choices after that. So that's how and everything that I do, it's that small to solo space where quite often, whilst you might want a lot of the other things, again, cash flow. So, so I think we're very complementary. And my advice is to everyone that whatever program you use, just do it. Offer this to your client. I feel like I did some talks last year, and when I was talking about tax planning, a lovely gentleman when I was in Melbourne said to me, doesn't everyone do tax planning? Isn't that actually part of our, like, almost like we have to do that? Should we be doing it? And I sort of explained that, a lot of people time poor, there's so much happening, and it really is a strategic thing we have to do in our business. So it's part of creating that time, and sometimes that can't happen straight away. So instead of deferring it another 12 months, let's actually do what you can with where you're at. And, when I was in practice, I pretty much workflow scheduled all of my client compliance work from July through to February. I talk about that. And a lot of people that go through my program, they implement that from 1 July. So that's why it's just this whole change management piece.
Lots of value in what you're offering. And I think the reason people generally do not offer tax planning is because of capacity and resourcing, but also because there's an assumption that clients do not want it, do not need it, and or will not pay.
Yeah. So one of the lovely participants in our very first year of running this. So I ran this. Would you believe I sold this program in February 2020, and we know what happened after that. I had all these people signed up. So we actually changed a few things. So we did have tax planning because some people were quite buoyant and they had lots of money coming in. And we changed it. So we actually added 2 little smaller packages. And it was actually the stimulus measures maximisation package. So we actually had a couple. I can't remember what it was, but we did a few extra things. So we changed it. Anyhow, one of these participants offered it, and she could not believe she literally sent out the proposals, like, this is what we're doing, and had someone come back and said, I want to book in. She was flabbergasted because the actual tax planning fee was more than the compliance fee that she was charging, and they had whinged about the compliance fee. But see, they saw value in this.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why I don't like people cherry picking as to who should have tax planning, because often we're not in touch with our clients during the year. How do we know they actually have made, their situation's different, they've made a lot of money? We haven't even thought to reach out to them. So then we are potentially negligent and we haven't actually, but we can't contact everyone. So blanket invitation for our clients to take up the service. And if they say no, that's fine, that's on them. And it's like, sorry, you should have had tax planning.
Chances are, if you are seeing this video, you're already connected to the lovely Amanda, but otherwise check out her website, which is
amandagascoigne.com/tax planning to find out all about our 2025 tax planning program. And our first kick-off call, fortnightly calls, the first one is on the 10th of March. I'd love to see you inside the program and help you roll out a profitable and efficient tax planning service to your SME clients. I should have actually said that. It is specifically for small to medium-sized practices for their small to medium-sized business clients. So I'd love to see you in there.
Yeah, fantastic. And just to add that last clarification point, technically small to medium these days is less than 50 million, which astonishes me. But really, Amanda's aiming this at clients turning over, $1 million max.
Yeah, so the clients that I actually had the tax planning for, look, the maximum they were turning over would have been $5 million. So majority, like even people that were turning over, say, 250, they came in and did tax planning. So maybe some small consulting firms that we had to get Yeah, so I used to get a super and things like that done. Like I still charge 1750 plus GST, whether they were 250,000 turnover or $1.25 million.
And here's my hot tip: if they'll play for tax planning and they're really earning that sort of lower revenue, geez, it makes advisory look cheap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks again for your time.
That's okay. Thanks, Carl.